January 14, 2006. At 2:17 a.m., a call came in to the Kenton County Sheriff's Department in Delano, Kentucky. A body had been found in the snow beside exit 52, off Interstate 71. A trucker had stopped to check on what he thought was a sleeping homeless man, only to discover a woman, barefoot and beaten, lying in a torn cocktail dress. She had no purse. No ID. Just a folded napkin in her hand, with the words, "Don't go back." Detective Sam Mercer was 40 minutes into overtime when the call came through. The night shift had been quiet, typical for mid-January in Delano, until dispatch patched through the trucker's panicked voice. Snow had been falling steadily since dusk, blanketing the county in 6 inches of powder that muffled sound and slowed response times. "Any ID on the victim?" Sam asked, his breath forming clouds in the freezing air as he approached the scene. Red and blue lights from 3 patrol cars swept across the pristine snow, creating eerie shadows beneath the highway overpass. Officer Jensen shook his head. "Nothing, sir. No purse, no wallet. Just this." He held up an evidence bag containing a crumpled cocktail napkin sealed inside. The handwriting was hurried but legible, "Don't go back." Sam knelt beside the woman's body, careful not to disturb the evidence. The medical examiner hadn't arrived yet. She was young, late 20s, maybe, with dark hair matted with blood and ice. Her cocktail dress, once black and sequined, was torn at the shoulder. No coat despite the 15-degree temperature. Her feet were bare, bruised, and bloody at the soles, as if she'd run across rough terrain. "Looks like she was dumped," Jensen said, gesturing to the tire tracks partially filled with fresh snow. "Me estimates time of death between midnight and 2 a.m., based on body temp." Sam nodded, studying the woman's face. One eye was swollen shut, her lips split. Defensive wounds marked her forearms. She'd fought back. "Get photos of everything," he instructed. "And check with nearby businesses for security footage. Someone might have caught something." Back at the station, Sam pinned what little they had to the corkboard: photos of the woman, the napkin, the tire tracks. By morning, they had a name: Crystal Jennings, 28, from nearby Bardwell. A waitress at the Red Bird Diner, former Miss Bardwell County, and single mother to a 6-year-old son named Lucas. Crystal's mother, Martha Jennings, arrived at the station just after 9 a.m., her face a mask of grief, clutching her grandson's hand. "I just don't understand," she whispered in Sam's office, Lucas coloring quietly in the corner, unaware that his mother would never come home. "Crystal said she was going to Tammy's birthday party at the Crossroads bar. That's why Lucas was staying with me for the weekend." Sam offered her a tissue. "Mrs. Jennings, did Crystal have any enemies? Anyone who might want to hurt her?" Martha's eyes hardened. "You check that Zeke Dalton first. Her ex mean as a snake when he drinks, and he drinks plenty." "When did they break up?" 3 weeks ago. But he wouldn't leave her alone. Kept showing up at her work, calling at all hours." Martha lowered her voice, glancing at Lucas. "Crystal had a restraining order drawn up but hadn't filed it yet. Said she was handling it her own way." Sam wrote down Zeke's name. "Any other men in her life recently?" Martha hesitated. "She'd been secretive lately. Happier some days, nervous others. I thought maybe she was seeing someone new, but she didn't bring anyone around." The autopsy report came in that afternoon. "Cause of death, blunt force trauma to the head." The medical examiner pointed out distinctive marks on Crystal's cheekbones and jaw. "See these crescent-shaped contusions?" Dr. Forrester indicated. "Consistent with being struck by someone wearing a heavy ring. Multiple impacts. Killer was right-handed, based on the angle." "Anything else?" Tox screen showed alcohol, 0.06, so she wasn't drunk, and a trace amount of ketamine. "Date rape drug?" Dr. Forrester shrugged. "Could be, though the dose was low." No signs of sexual assault, however. And her stomach contents indicate she'd eaten recently, burger, fries, probably around 10 p.m. Sam checked his notes. The Crossroads bar serves food until 11. Back in his office, Sam studied Crystal's phone records. Two numbers appeared frequently in recent weeks. One belonged to Tammy Wilson, the birthday girl, who confirmed Crystal never showed up at the party. The other was unsaved in Crystal's contacts but labeled Coach in her text messages. The texts between Crystal and Coach were flirtatious, making plans to meet, but vague on details. One from 3 days before her death stood out: "I can't talk at work. Meet me same place. I'll handle Zeke." The address for Zeke Dalton led Sam to a rundown duplex on the edge of town. Zeke answered the door in a stained wife-beater, eyes bloodshot, the smell of stale beer wafting out. A tow truck with "Dalton's Towing" painted on the side sat in the driveway. "Yeah." Zeke eyed Sam's badge with contempt. "Need to ask you some questions about Crystal Jennings." Zeke's expression didn't change. "Heard what happened. Wasn't me. Mind if I come in?" Inside, the house was cluttered but not filthy. A framed photo of Crystal and Zeke sat on an end table, the glass cracked. Sam noticed a heavy class ring on Zeke's right hand, Delano High School, 1990. "When did you last see Crystal?" Zeke lit a cigarette. "Yesterday afternoon. She came by to pick up some of her stuff she'd left here. We argued, yeah, but she left alive around 9:30. Called an Uber." "That argument get physical?" "No," Zeke said flatly. "We yelled. She cried. Normal breakup shit." "Where were you between midnight and 2 a.m.? "Driving around. Needed to clear my head." "Anyone see you?" "Probably not. Just cruising back roads." Sam wrote that down. "Mind if I check your truck?" Zeke shrugged. "Go ahead. Already been washed though. Salt from the roads is hell on the undercarriage." The truck was indeed freshly cleaned, inside and out. No evidence to collect. Back at the station, Sam verified Zeke's story about the Uber. The company had no record of a pickup at Zeke's address that night. Another lie. Phone tower data came back showing Crystal's phone and Zeke's pinged the same tower, near exit 52, between 12:45 and 1:15 a.m. When confronted, Zeke claimed coincidence. He was just driving and happened to be in the area. "You expect me to believe you randomly drove to the exact spot where your ex-girlfriend's body was found, at the exact time she was killed?" Sam asked. "Check my truck all you want," Zeke shot back. "You won't find anything because I didn't do it." Without physical evidence linking Zeke to the scene, they couldn't hold him. Sam ordered surveillance on Zeke's house and began interviewing Crystal's friends and co-workers. Tammy Wilson, still emotional from losing her friend, provided the first potential lead. "Crystal had been acting weird lately," she said, dabbing at her eyes. "Happy weird, like she had a secret. I thought maybe she'd met someone, but she wouldn't say who." "Any idea who Coach might be?" Sam asked. Tammy frowned. "Coach? No idea. Crystal wasn't into sports." The next day brought an unexpected break. A bartender from the Highway 9 Lounge, a dive bar near Interstate 71, came forward after seeing Crystal's photo on the news. "She was here Friday night," the bartender, a woman named Denise, told Sam. "Not alone, either. She was with an older man, late 40s, maybe. Clean cut, wore a blazer. Didn't seem like her usual type." "Did you get a name?" "No, but he paid in cash. Left a good tip. Polite, but intense, you know. Kept checking his watch." They sat in the corner booth for about an hour, talking real close. "Left together around midnight." "Did you hear any of their conversation?" Denise thought for a moment. Just bits. She called him Coach once. And I heard him say something about making things right and one last time. Any cameras in the parking lot? Nope. Owner's too cheap. Sam sighed. Did you see what kind of car they left in? Dark sedan. That's all I remember. The Highway 9 lounge was less than 2 miles from exit 52. Sam drove the route, thinking through the timeline. If Crystal and Coach left the bar at midnight, they could have reached the exit by 12:15. Zeke's phone pinged in the area starting at 12:45. What happened in those 30 minutes? While canvassing businesses near the exit, Sam discovered a gas station with an exterior camera facing the highway. The footage quality was poor, but at 12:22 a.m., a dark sedan pulled off at exit 52. Two figures exited the vehicle, a woman in a dark dress and a taller man in what appeared to be a blazer. They seemed to be arguing. The camera angle didn't show where they went next. At 12:53 a.m., a tow truck matching Zeke's drove into frame, stopping briefly near where the sedan had parked, then continuing out of view. Sam took the footage to tech. Can you enhance the sedan's license plate? I'll try, but it's blurry. Might take time. The investigation stalled for 3 days until the tech team tracked Coach's number to a burner phone purchased with cash at a convenience store in Cincinnati, Ohio, just across the state line. The phone had never been used after the night of Crystal's murder. Dead end, Sam's partner, Detective Rivera, concluded. Maybe not, Sam replied. The convenience store might have security cameras. The store did have cameras, and the footage showed a man purchasing the phone 2 weeks before the murder, tall, graying at the temples, wearing a blazer similar to the one described by the bartender. His face was partially obscured by a baseball cap, but it was enough to create a composite sketch. Sam distributed the sketch to local businesses and police departments. 3 days later, a bank teller in Bardwell recognized the man as Howard Chambers, a high school basketball coach in the neighboring county. Howard Chambers, 47, divorced, no children. His address led to a well-kept colonial house in an upscale neighborhood. His car, a dark blue Audi sedan, matched the description from the gas station footage. Sam and Rivera approached the house on a Tuesday morning. Chambers answered wearing a tracksuit, seemingly unsurprised. I've been expecting you, he said, stepping aside to let them in. The house was immaculate, tastefully decorated. Photos of basketball teams lined the hallway. In the living room, a framed photo caught Sam's eye, a much younger Howard Chambers with his arm around a teenage girl holding a trophy. The banner behind them read, Miss Teen Bardwell County. That was 15 years ago, Chambers said, noticing Sam's interest. I was coaching girls basketball then too. Is that Crystal Jennings in the photo? Chambers nodded. She was talented. Could have played college ball. When did you reconnect with her? Chambers sat down heavily. About a month ago. She came to a game, said her son might want to play basketball someday. We got coffee afterward, started texting. Were you romantically involved? No, Chambers said firmly. I was helping her. Helping how? With her ex Zeke. He was harassing her, threatening her. She was scared. So you were, coach, Sam confirmed. Yes. You wrote, I'll handle Z. What did that mean? Chambers looked away. I was going to talk to him. Man to man. Make him understand it was over. Did you? No. Crystal wouldn't let me. Said she had something on him that would make him back off for good. What was that? She wouldn't tell me. Said the less I knew, the better. Where were you Friday night? I met Crystal at the Highway 9 lounge around 11. She was agitated, said she'd had a fight with Zeke earlier. We talked, had a drink. I offered to drive her home. Did you? No. We left together, but when we got to exit 52, she asked me to pull over. Said she was meeting someone there. I thought it was crazy, middle of nowhere, freezing cold, but she insisted. I waited about 10 minutes, but she didn't come back to the car. So you left her there? In the snow? In a cocktail dress with no coat? She had my coat, Chambers said quietly. And her phone. She said she'd call when she was ready to be picked up. I drove to the gas station down the road and waited. She never called. Did you see who she was meeting? No. But about 20 minutes later, I saw a tow truck drive by, heading toward the exit. Zeke's truck. I can't be sure. I drove back to check on her, but she was gone. I figured she'd left with whoever she was meeting. Why didn't you come forward sooner? Chambers looked ashamed. I was scared. I'm a respected coach. Being seen with a former student, late at night in a bar, it wouldn't look good. I convinced myself she was fine. Sam didn't believe him, not entirely. They brought Chambers in for questioning, but his story remained consistent. His Audi had been recently detailed, like Zeke's truck, eliminating potential evidence. The case hit another wall until Crystal's phone records yielded an unexpected connection, a call to Zeke, made at 12:32 a.m., lasting 3 minutes. It originated from the tower near exit 52. Confronted with this evidence, Zeke finally changed his story. Fine. She called me from the exit, he admitted. Said she had proof I'd been stealing from work and would turn me in if I didn't stop harassing her. Told me to meet her there. Did you? Yeah. I drove out there, saw her standing by some fancy car. We argued. She showed me photos on her phone of invoices I'd doctored at the towing company. I got mad, pushed her. She fell and hit her head on a guardrail. I panicked and left. You left her to die in the snow. She was still conscious when I left. Yelling at me. I swear. But the medical examiner's report contradicted Zeke's story. Crystal's injuries weren't consistent with a single fall. She'd been struck multiple times with significant force. With the conflicting accounts from Chambers and Zeke, Sam ordered forensic analysis of both vehicles. Zeke's truck yielded nothing useful. But in Chambers' Audi, they found a single sequin matching Crystal's dress and traces of her blood in microscopic amounts on the passenger door handle. Chambers was brought back in. Under pressure, his story changed. Yes, I went back, he admitted. I was worried about her. When I returned, she was arguing with Zeke. I stayed in my car, watching. After he left, I went to check on her. She was hurt, disoriented. I tried to help her into my car, but she pushed me away, said she needed to walk, to think. That's when she gave me back my coat. She was alive when I left her. I swear. The physical evidence couldn't definitively place either man at the scene during the time of death. Both had opportunity. Both had potential motives. Both had lied. The case stalled for weeks until Martha Jennings called Sam with a discovery. While sorting through Crystal's belongings, she'd found a sealed envelope taped under Crystal's dresser drawer, addressed to Lucas, when you're older. Inside was a USB drive and a handwritten letter. The letter explained that Crystal had discovered financial fraud at Dalton's Towing, where Zeke's father was the owner. Crystal had worked their books part-time and had evidence of substantial tax evasion and insurance fraud. The USB drive contained photos of altered invoices and 2 spreadsheets detailing over $200,000 in fraudulent claims. She was blackmailing the Daltons, Sam realized. The investigation shifted. Phone records showed calls between Zeke and his father immediately after Crystal's call to Zeke at 12:32 a.m. The tow truck seen on the gas station footage at 12:53 a.m. could have been driven by either Dalton. Sam brought in Zeke's father, Robert Dalton, 56, a former boxing champion with a heavy championship ring he still wore daily. The ring matched the distinctive marks on Crystal's face. Under interrogation, Robert Dalton eventually confessed. He'd followed Zeke to the meeting at exit 52, intending to scare Crystal into silence. When threats didn't work, he'd struck her repeatedly, not intending to kill her but losing control. Zeke didn't do it, Robert insisted. He left before I got there. It was just me and her. But the confession left loose ends. What about Coach Chambers' involvement? Why was he really helping Crystal? And what was on the napkin in Crystal's hand? The case closed officially with Robert Dalton's conviction for second-degree murder. Zeke pled guilty to lesser charges of obstruction of justice and fled the state after serving 18 months. Howard Chambers was never charged, though he resigned his coaching position and also left town shortly after. Every January 14, Martha Jennings still leaves a note taped to the highway sign near exit 52. Last year's read, still waiting. Still watching. Still remembering. And Detective Sam Mercer still keeps a copy of the case file in his desk drawer, alongside the evidence photo of that crumpled napkin with its cryptic warning, "Don't go back." He sometimes wonders if they got the whole truth. If Crystal had written that warning to herself about Zeke, about the Daltons, or about something else entirely. If Coach Chambers knew more than he admitted. If there had been a deeper relationship between the former coach and his student that no one had uncovered. The evidence pointed to Robert Dalton, and he was behind bars. But in the quiet hours of night shifts, Sam still finds himself driving past exit 52, looking for something they all missed. Some clue that would explain why a young mother would agree to meet someone at a deserted highway exit in the middle of a snowstorm. Some questions have no answers. Some mysteries remain just beyond reach. And sometimes, justice and truth aren't quite the same thing.